Hi, Chris. Hi, Marion. Can you guys hear me? Hi, Catherine. Hey, Sue. Are you guys ready to learn how to design a card tonight? I am not going to be on camera. Hi, Linda. Hi, Sheila. I'm sorry, Patricia and Sheila. Yeah, there we go. Hey, Wanda. I went to the doctor today and they did a biopsy on my nose, so I have a big bandage on my nose, so I'm not going on camera because I can't do any makeup or anything. I'm sorry, Chris. I'll be on camera next time. Well, next week. I'm going to do a live for patrons tomorrow, and I won't be able to go on camera for that either, but next week I'll be on camera. Hey, Carol Ann. Great. Yeah, Chris, I've already had a couple of skin cancers removed off my face, and I got one place on my cheek. They're starting to lean towards lupus too, so um, they did blood work today. We'll find out. But I feel fine. I think it'll be fine. Well, let's get started, guys. There's a few of you here. First of all, let me come over to answer some questions for some of you guys that were asking. Some of you already know. I've already started my web page, Crafting with April. I redid it. It was down for a while, and I redid everything and tried to put everything under one roof for you guys. Hey, Dee, I'm glad you could join us. I have also launched my Patreon page that several of you were asking about. Um, and when you come over to my site, you're going to see this is where I have my art glitter glue. And yes, it's all out of stock right now because it can't be shipped during freezing weather. So it'll show out of stock. And as soon as I can ship, I will get a new shipment in, and this won't say out of stock on all of these. Hey, Alice. And then up here you have become a Patreon supporter. When you click on that link, it will take you over to Patreon where you can follow me there. You can become a member. You do not have to become a member. I just want to make that clear to you guys. Anything that you give and you want to give, that is greatly appreciated because this is my job and it enables me to help you guys out. But you'll see all of the rewards listed, what you're going to get, all of that down the side. Um, Coming over here, if you try to click on files for supporters, it's going to tell you access denied if you are not a Patreon member. That doesn't mean that you can't get any files, but if you are a member, you will be able to access the files. Same for exclusive members here. You have to be a member, otherwise it's going to tell you access denied. Even if you register, I don't know where that went. I have to go and check the website. There is a place to register on the site. Let me go back over here. There. Let's see. It must be hiding. I'm going to have to shrink this bar. I'll do that after this thing. But you'll need to register on the site. Once you register here and you're a Patreon supporter, then it will be turned on for you to access these files. If you want to sign up for mystery box notifications, you'll do that here as well. If you want to view the blog, it is moving over here as well. And if you need to contact me for any reason and it's not getting through on Facebook, whatever may be an issue that you want to discuss privately, you can contact me here. We're having a giveaway. It may take that a moment. $30 Cricut shopping spree. You guys need to go in and log in and participate in the giveaway. And then, of course, we have our YouTube. And I'll put the latest video in here. The gallery will be adding photos. These are just some of them. I didn't go back all the way back, but I put quite a few in there. And then, of course, your account. That's where yours may say login, register right here. I bet that's what it is. And then here is the shopping cart if you're shopping with the art glitter glue. So I hope that clarified some things for some of you guys. Again, here's the Patreon page. And once you sign up, if you sign up to be a patron, then you'll need to go over to the site and make sure that you log in with the same email so I can give you access to the files. And here's tonight's project. Let me give y'all a little sneak peek. Here's one that I made, my mock-up. Hope you guys can see that. And we're going to be designing the box that holds the little, if I can get my fingers in there, Ghirardelli chocolate. Or you can just do these as a Valentine separate by themselves. But we're going to learn to make that tonight. We're going to talk about sizing your sentiment inside, and I purposely did this one large. So this is what we're going to learn tonight. We're going to assemble it. I've already cut mine and it's ready to go just for time purposes, but we are going to go through the design process on this. Hey Sharon, I'm glad you made it. Making a light box on your Cricuts. Okay. Claudia, I did one of those when I first got my new Cricut after I switched over from the Expression, if it's the same thing that I'm thinking of, and I'd be happy to do that. So I'll put that on the list. And if I forget, send me a contact thing from the website to remind me. You guys can use that for that. When you have suggestions, use that contact me link either on Patreon or the site, either one. And that'll have me put a reminder right there in my email because I have to check that every day and I'll see it every day and I won't forget it that way. Hi, Hilltop. Gerald? Ah, Gerald. That's Gerald there. Okay. Nice to see you. We're just going over what we're going to be doing today. So hopefully you guys, if you're a patron, you have the file already. For you, those of you who don't, it will be ready after the video, the live video ends and the video on demand goes up on the site. Then you'll have access to the file, but you're not going to need it because we're going to create it right here tonight. We're going to create this. I'm going to show you exactly how I created this file. And then you can modify it and do all sorts of things with it that you want to do. Let me kind of shrink this page just a little bit so chat can be seen. There we go. Yes, please give us a thumbs up on the video, guys. All right, let me come back over to Design Space. But here is your file that I was speaking of that the patrons probably already have. And if you guys have already cut yours and you want to assemble together, I am going to assemble, but I'm not going to cut. I've already done mine just to save us some time. How did we get here for this card? I am going to get rid of it, guys, so that, but don't, let me do a save as so I don't mess up the files. And save. Okay. To get here, this is nothing more than some of the shapes down here, guys. And you can get these. The leather bow, number M32C85. There's a medallion, and this is on Create a Critter M3AACB. And then, of course, our score line's a square. And then this is a Valentine on the thoughts and phrases. And then we're going to be using the Be Mine font. Okay? So, getting there, I am going to delete it. Let me undo that. I just want to hide some of this. Let me just select it all and hide it. How about that? That way we can design and not worry about it. Well, I thought I had my whole group. There we go. All right. To design a card. Hi, Maureen. That way I won't have to call you Chris. All right. The first thing that we do when we're going to design a card, or the way that I do it, and there are several ways to do things, so if you know a better way or a quicker way, feel free to do that. But we had a lot of questions, and some people were getting stuck on how we design the cards. And the first thing I do is I go and I get a shape. And just so you guys know, last week we were talking about changing the canvas color, and I forgot, if you put a template on there, you can't, but you can change that canvas color to any color you want to put in the background so that you can see things better by clicking down here at the bottom right on that blank canvas. And then you can change that color to whatever color you want it to be to help you see things. But I'm going to make this one white. This is going to be my card base. So whatever size card you're looking at, if you're looking for an A2, you're going to make this 8.5 wide. We don't want it that big. 8.5, and then your height would be 5.5. And the reason that we do 8.5 is because when we fold it in half, that's going to make it 4.25. And the only thing you want to do, this is open from right to left, like a book, or you can turn it 90 degrees and open it bottom to top. So that's how you determine your base, okay? And we're doing a book fold, or what I call a book fold. And we're going to do a 5x7. So I'm going to make it 10 by 7 because you want to double your width. And then I'm just going to lock that back. The next thing you want to do is insert a score line. And I just insert it and come up to the top, and I know that my card is 7 inches tall, so I'm going to make it 7 and go ahead and size that. Then I'm going to select all at the top, or you can drag a box around it, either way that you want. Like I said, there's more than one way to do anything. Come up to the top of the line, center. Come back down to the bottom, right, and attach. And now you have a card base. That base is ready to go. You can save that as a 5x7 base. You can save that as anything that you want to save it as. Okay? And you can just go in whenever you're going to make a card and pull up your 5x7 base, do a save as, and you're good to go with your making whatever card you want to make. If you want to put text on the inside and on the outside, the only way to do that is with Snap Mat. When I design this as the top or the front of the card, and this is the inside of the card because we can't see the back side of it. So I always design as this being the front, this is the inside. With Snap Mat, you can flip the card over after it's cut, put your sentiment in there, and line it up and run it through and have it right on the front as well. Okay? To me, it's just easier to do a panel and write on that panel for the front because it's going to be decorative anyway, and then write on the inside. Or if I have too much going on the front and I don't want to write there, or I want it to write there because there's a lot of writing, then I will write the front and I will do a vellum or something to put on the inside with my writing on it. To me, that's easier. But you're just going to Snap Mat. That's Snap Mat, Wanda. It is not an app. It is a feature in mobile iOS apps. I don't know if it will let me. It's not going to let me put my shortcut in there, but it's called Snap Mat. Maybe Catherine or Sue can grab a link. Hey Tina, I'm glad you made it. They can get you a link for how that works. There's also a Cricut video in the playlist on YouTube. I have a playlist. If you click the playlist on my channel, the Cricut tutorials are in there. And I believe the Snap Mat is in there on how to do that. It takes a little getting used to, but it's a great feature. I have used it. Okay, so now we have our card base and we need our text on the inside. And we're just going to do something simple. Since this is Valentine's Day, you guys pick your own text. And then we're going to come up to the top and select our font. And I know I'm using the Be Mine font because it kind of matches what we're putting on the front. The size of the card base is 10 by 7 to make a 5 by 7 card. Because when you fold it over, you're going to have half the size. Okay. And whenever we do a font, especially writing fonts or cursive fonts, scripty fonts, you want to use your letter spacing. This is cute if this is the look you're going for. You don't have to do anything. But these fonts are meant to touch. See how they're touching? And then you size them down. And let's talk a second about size. I'm going to show you guys. I've already, like I said, I've already cut mine. When you're sizing, you want to actually, instead of looking at this on the canvas here, because it can be deceiving, let me show you what I mean by that. This looks pretty good. Go over to the project camera real quick. But when you actually have it written, look how much space that takes up. And when you buy a store-bought card, your sentiment wouldn't come out that close to the edge. Normally it's just straight down the center, leaving at least an inch on a 5 by 7 card on each side. Here's the same sentiment in the other card. Can you guys see that? This one looks much better and much more professionally done because I paid attention to the size. This one I just did. I just sized it down. It looked good on the screen and I did it. And then when it came out, it was just huge. So I sized it down and checked it, and then it came out looking much better. Okay? So you want to pay attention to the size, because I see a lot of cards, and when people do their cards, you open them up and it's like, wow, in your face. Okay? They want to be able to read it without it jumping out at them. Unless you've made a pop-up, then you want it to jump out. Okay? So let me go back over here to the design space. And this is what I do. I look at it and that looks good, but I'm going to come up here and I'm going to look at the size. Okay, that's just over a ½ an inch tall. So if you're looking at your ruler, that's pretty tall for that. And it's close to 1.5 inches wide. It's not far off. If I put in an exclamation point behind that, and I've been having some issues. I don't know why I can't get a text box. I have to go to support tonight and find out why I can't get my text box. After I click off of it, it won't allow me to come in and change it. Yes, it is just a little bit different on iPad. It's not a lot different, but it is a little bit different because all of your controls are at the bottom, but you still have all of this stuff. Um, I don't have my iPad right here with me. I believe it's in, oh, what do they call it? Not functions. I can't think right now. I just lost my train of thought on it. But down at the bottom, they're down there. Actions, maybe something like that. It says something like that, and that's where all of this stuff is. Whenever you do a writing font, I think it automatically pops up on writing. Okay, so just pay attention when you've got this. Now you want to make sure also that you've got it centered. How do you make sure that it's centered? You can eyeball it, but it may not be right. I insert a shape, I get a square, and I know that my card is 5 by 7. I just need the width, unless you want it totally center. I just need the width of it. Okay, I'm going to move that backwards. And then I am going to place this and hold my shift key and select that square, and I am going to align and center horizontally. Now I know that that is centered horizontally. I'm going to attach it to that square. Then I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to align right. That way I know that that card is aligned to the right. And I just judge how far I want it to come down. If I am doing something that just has I love you like this and it's not a poem or 2 or 3 lines, I'm just going to put it just above center. I don't really want it to be center. I want to leave enough room to write below it. And again, align right. Now I know that that I love you is center of this 5 by 7 or this 5-inch square, which is the width of my card. I'm going to detach it. I'm going to get rid of the gray square. I'm going to select it and attach. Now I know that that is center of my card when it's folded, and it's not going to be off. If you want it to be total center, make your square 5 by 7, do the same thing. Okay? That will help you keep your sentiment in the correct spot. I do the same thing for the front of the card on my panels. Okay? So I make sure that I get it in there like it's supposed to be. Thank you, Sue. Okay? So now we have our base. Now we need panels. So we're going to insert a shape. And like I said, we can just work over here because that's probably what most of you are used to, but this is where I designed my front of the card. So I'm just going to put it over that, and we're just going to pretend this is the front. And I am going to change this shape, the size of this square, to 4.75 by 6.75. That is a 1/4 inch smaller all the way around than the front of my card because I want my base to be peeping out, and then I have my layer. And this is what I did with the gold layer. This is the piece that I used that was acetate. Let me switch back over to make sure that you guys are with me. That's this piece, the acetate right here. And it's just smaller than the card itself. Now you can do a solid gold color or whatever it is you want, but you want to have a little bit of a lip. Okay? Oh, thank you, dear. I just want to make sure that I don't leave anybody behind and everybody understands. I don't like to move off and leave people behind. So then that gives you your acetate layer or your gold layer right here. Then I just duplicate it. Okay? And then I'm going to take another 1/4 inch off of it and make it 4.5 by 6.5. Okay, and I'm going to change the color of that so I can see it against the other. And now I have my last panel. And this is the panel that I'm going to decorate. Now you can go ahead and do another panel if you want, totally up to you. I've done several panels on mine before. They look really good. So now we're going to go in and we're going to get our sentiment. And I can probably search it out of here. There it is. I'm going to unhide that instead of going to get it. If you guys need to get that, I just typed in Valentine and it came up. But again, it is To My Valentine, number M9F493D, off the Thoughts and Phrases cartridge. Okay, and I did this in a gold pen, and the way that you do that is, I want to ungroup. The way that you do that is come to the pen here and select the color you want, and I did the gold tip glitter. Now here's a hint. The gold tip glitter is not really dark. I did not unload my mat. I pressed go again, and then I unloaded my mat before it started cutting again. It still wasn't quite dark enough for me, so I went over it and hand drew over it to get it to come up. And the reason is that gel pen, it comes out a little slow. I don't know if it's because the maker goes a little bit faster, because I know that it used to write heavier on my air machine. But with my maker, it didn't come out as heavy as I wanted it. So I went over it by hand so that it would show up, because it wasn't very dark at all. You could barely even see it. And in some places, it kind of missed completely drawing. So if you're using the gel pen, make sure that you either do it twice or go over it by hand so that it will show, or select another pen, or go with a lighter color background, because this can be done in pinks and purples and peaches. You guys can do this in any colors. It doesn't have to be red. Okay. Now that we have that done, we need to make sure that we have that center, but I'm not going to do it yet because I want to make sure that my box is going to fit on there. And now we need to design that chocolate box. I'll just go ahead and temporarily attach it. We're just going to pretend that I centered it, but you guys, you center that the same way, just by doing a line and center horizontally. Figure out what height you want it, okay? And then that, I'm going to group that. That will take care of the card itself. That's how easy it is to create your card bases, okay? Now here comes the tricky part, the box. And everybody thinks they're really, really hard. And some of them are. They can get complicated. But this one is really not that complicated. I'm just going to get rid of this because I already have it in over here in the group. So I'm going to get a shape, and I'm going to get a square. And I have this Ghirardelli chocolate, and I want to make a small box for it. So how do we go about doing that? The first thing that I do, let me come over to the project camera and show you guys, is I have to measure it. I have to know what size that is. Okay, and these are 1/2-inch squares, guys. So it is 2 inches, not counting the little foil on the side, and it's about 1/4 inch thick. So I do have my measurements. Because it has these flaps on there, you want to give it room so that it doesn't push the top open. Okay? When you close it up, you want to make sure that it's going to stay closed. Okay? And I just mashed my box, but there we go. You want to make sure it's going to stay closed. My prototype that I did when I first did it, I did it just bigger than what the chocolate was. not taking into consideration the foil paper on the ends, and it kept pushing the top of the box open. So make sure that you take into account for that, and always cut your prototype out of paper when you're making a box. I like to use the AC Moore 60-pound papers to do prototypes with, and then save my good cardstocks for the actual product. Okay, so let's go back over to Design Space and make that box. And I'm going to start with a square, and I said that square, the chocolate itself was 2 inches. Okay, it's 2 inches by 1/4 inch high. And I'm going to come over here real quick to my cheat sheets. You guys can't see that, but I want to make sure that I have it right. Okay, so what I did is I added 0.2 inches. So I made it 2.2. But and that will suffice and make it the right size. That chocolate will fit in there. But then you have your lid to go on there to close up, and you have those foil ends. The first one I made, I didn't do it. I did it exactly square and didn't take into account, like I said, for those foil ends. So I had to go back and make it again, and I had to make it just slightly taller to fit that. So I made that another 0.2 of an inch and made it 2.4. Okay, so there is the front of the box. We need a back to the box, so let's duplicate it. We want it to be the same, and we know that it's 1/4 inch in thickness. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate another square, because that's all we're using is squares, and I'm going to unlock it, and the height of this is 2.4. So I know that I need it to be 2.4 high. Okay? And I know that the chocolate is 2.5 in width. So I want it to be just slightly bigger so that it will come in and out. So I'm going to make this 0.35. I believe that's what I ended up with too. Over here. Yep, that's what I have. So there is the front, the side, the back. We need another side. So I'm going to duplicate it again. And I'm just getting everything ready. I'm not putting anything together or welding anything. I'm just getting my sizing down. Okay? And I want everything to be... You dropped off? Oh no. Is everybody else with me? Am I going too fast for you guys? Everybody's getting it so far? Okay. All right. Now we have that. Now we need a bottom to this box. Okay? And we want it to be the same as the sides, because it's not going to change down here. It's still going to be the same thickness. That chocolate doesn't change. Okay? So I'm just going to duplicate that again. But this time I'm going to rotate it up at the top 90 degrees and turn it sideways. You're mesmerized, Sue? But now it's too wide. But we know that this was 2.2 wide. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to unlock it and change this to 2.2 so that it's the same width as that box. Oh, this is actually going to be the bottom. Okay. So now I have that. So we have the front, or actually this is the back. We have the front, the side, the back, and the other side. Now we have the bottom. Now we need a top to close it with. And it's going to be exactly the same as that one. So we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to put it up here. Okay? Now we have what's starting to look like a box, an unfolded box. But now we need a flap to keep it closed. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to duplicate, and I am going to change it to 2. I'm going to take 1/10 of an inch off of each side and change that. Oops, I don't want to change that yet. I want to unlock it. So let me do that over. Let me duplicate that. Make sure you unlock it first. You want to keep it at that 0.35 and just change it to 2 inches wide. Take 1/10 of an inch off each side. That way it will close and you'll still be able to get it open. It won't fit too tight and push your sides out, if that makes any sense to you guys. Because when you open up a box that has a little flap on it like that, if you'll notice, they're either curved on the sides, and you can cut these off. I just wanted to make this as simple as possible. You can make these curved. You can use a curved piece by using a curved square and just slicing it off. There are several ways to get a curve on this, and we'll cover that in another video, but I just want to keep this simple. Yes, Sue, it's like building blocks or Legos. It's basically the same thing. And we know that we need that on the bottom, so we're going to duplicate it again and bring it down here on the bottom. We need a flap on the side, okay? So now we have one more to do. Actually, I like to put mine on this side. I don't know why I did it that way. I think it was because I wanted the seam to be to the back when I glued it to the card instead of at the top. So I'm going to put this on this side. All right. So your side piece and your side flap is going to be on the same as your back. Okay. And you're going to duplicate that piece, unlock it, and you're going to take 1/10 of an inch off the height of this, okay? And it's supposed to be 2.2. I don't know how I got that 1/4 inch in there. And then we're going to lock that back. And now we have what's starting to look like a box. And in this piece, I did cut 2 holes so that we could get the ribbon, thread the ribbon through there. So all we're going to do before we go any further is just duplicate any one of the squares. It doesn't matter which one you do. Unlock it, and we're going to shrink these down to little bitty slots. And if you have a punch that'll do these, you won't even have to do this. And I am going to change that to white so I can see it. And I'm going to duplicate. And I'm just going to kind of line them up right there where I want them. I'm going to select both of them, align top, and then I'm going to weld. I want to weld those 2 little pieces. And then I'm going to bring this piece back in. And I'm going to select that. I'm going to hold my shift and select that piece. And I'm going to align center. That way it's completely centered from top to bottom and side to side. And we're going to slice it. And this will help you too when you are making your box to know which is the top. Okay? Now the fun part comes in. You guys, we just built a box. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now all we got to do is weld. But you want to make sure that it's all lined up before you weld. Okay? So let's start with the top flap and the next flap. We're going to align center horizontally, and we're going to click on weld. And see, I got a gap there. You don't want that. If that happens, just click undo. And I'm doing this from some distance. I'm just going to pull it down till it touches. I'm going to double check to make sure that I didn't misalign it. We're going to center it horizontally, and we're going to click weld again. And now I have a black line there. Don't want that either. Let me see if I can get it to just touch. You just want it to touch. You don't want it to get overlap too much. And align, center horizontally, and weld. Perfect. That's the way you want it. That's what you want to see. Okay? And if you want, you can. The reason I don't just do this and duplicate is you might need to make changes, and it's easier to make changes to the smaller pieces than it is to redo the whole big piece. Okay? But like I said, more than one way to do anything, so whatever you're comfortable with, you do it that way. And we're going to align, and I'm center horizontally on that piece again, and we're going to weld. And that looks good. And I'm going to set that to the side. I'm not going to do anything else to that piece right now. I want to get this piece. First of all, I want to get these. I want these two, and I'm going to align, center vertically, and weld. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same down here on these two. I'm going to align horizontally, because that's the way they're running, and weld. Oops, I got a space in there. Align horizontally and weld. There we go. And before I go any further, I'm going to duplicate that square. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate that square, and I'm going to pull those off to the side. Okay, and I'm going to use those for my lining up tools. We are going to use score lines. That's what these are for. Good catch, Wanda. Can't trick you. Okay, I'm going to select that first one, and the second one I'm going to align and center horizontally. I want to make sure that they're in place. And then I am going to pull these two pieces in to where they touch. I'm going to select all three and align top. Okay. Then I'm going to select it all and weld. Then I'm going to bring this piece in, and this one I'm just going to eyeball and make sure I've got pretty much, this one is pretty easy. As long as, see if you've got a gap or it's not meeting right there, you know you're off. And that looks good to me, and I'm going to weld. And now we have the box. And we're not done yet either, guys. We're going to play Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner. I've got it hiding. So, and now we need score lines. And this is my little trick that I like to do. And you can do this. If you're using the sparkle paper like I use, guys, this stuff is fantastic for boxes. This is the first time I used it for a box. I'm hooked. It has a plastic coating on it that you can use a bone folder on, and it doesn't break and show the white edges. I love it. But you have to use score tape instead of art glitter glue. That's the only thing I didn't like about it, is you can't glue it. It doesn't want to stick well. But anyway, getting back on the subject, I just love the sparkle paper. I couldn't help myself. We're going to come over to this square that we saved, and where it's got the cut, we're going to click on it and go to the layer attributes, and you see you've got cut, right, score. We're going to change it to score. It's the Cricut sparkle paper, Sharon. We'll get you a link for that. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I love it. I worked with it a little bit the other day, and then I got really brave tonight and did this little box with it, and I like the results that I got out of it. So I've got this score line, and to me, I don't care if it scores over here where it's going to cut. So I'm just going to align that to the right. And let me change the color of this so we can see our score lines. Arrange. I'm going to move it to the back. And there's my score lines for this right here. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. I want this, the corner's what I'm worried about. I'm not concerned about this here, but I want this corner right here to be sharp. No sound, Patricia? Is she muted? Can you hear me now? Patricia may need to refresh, Catherine. We're going to do the same thing with this box. We're going to change it to a score as well. And I'm going to bring it over to this edge on this one right here. And now I have score lines there. Now I need two more. So I'm going to duplicate this one and rotate it 90 degrees. And it's too big, but we knew that. And I'm going to make it 2.2 to fit. It's going to be the same as the other one. And I'm going to duplicate it again. And that's going to give me a double score right there, but I don't care with this heavy paper. I like a heavy score line. And you can select all here and attach, but myself, I like to move away the box, select all my score lines, and attach them. That way, if I need to make changes, I don't have to worry about moving all those little bitty score lines. Then I'm going to select the box, and I'm going to attach. You should have paid attention in geometry. And there it is, guys. We have the box. We're done. We have designed that card. The only thing you got to do now is just go in and get your decor. Again, on this project, you can use anything you want. I put a panel here on this box, on the little chocolate box, and another panel on it just to match my card, but I reversed it because I knew I was making the box out of the same, out of the gold paper to go against the red. And so I just did me some layers up. And then I got the leather bow. You could do one of the crepe paper flowers on the top of this. There are just so many things that you guys can do with this little box. Okay? And let's go ahead and switch over to the project camera and put one together so you guys can see how that goes. Let me finagle around over here. Okay. Thank you, Sue. Getting that link. All right, we've got our card base. It's cut and we've scored it. And I've used my bone folder to score it. Okay? And just so you guys know, I used the Cricut foil acetate in metallic, and I used the stripe piece out of that. Okay? And I don't know if I have a scrap piece in there. This, if you look at it on the back, it's got kind of a dull finish, and they've started making the plastic look a little bit, they haven't taken it all the way to the edge so that you can peel that off. So you want to peel those before you use them. And because I'm using the sparkle paper, I am using score tape. And I got this on at Stamp On It when I went to the scrapbook expo. But you can use anything. This is 3mm, and I like it for these tiny projects. That way I don't have all that excess. And this is the sparkle paper. Look at that. It's gorgeous. And it's got a nice heavy plastic coating on it so it doesn't, it's completely smooth, almost like glass, but it gives that glitter look. Yeah, they call it score tape, but it's just a really thin 3mm tape. You can use a tape runner. This stuff is just really strong. So, and you want that for a box. You want something that's strong. I'm afraid a tape runner might, because this stuff is so sturdy, it might pop apart with you. You could also use what they call red line tape. This is like a red line. This is AC more, I believe. I get these at Joann's. They have them in the bins, and you can get them for like $1. You can get them at Tuesday Morning. Yes, Sue, it's a double-sided tape. And you'll see me use it here in just a moment, so that'll probably clarify too. But that is the sparkle paper. And don't be alarmed, guys, when you get it. I don't know if you can see this on the project camera, but see how it's all curled up? This stuff is really heavy, but it does lay flat. If you just lay it flat, it'll flatten back out. It cuts fine. It stays on the mat, even though it's curled. It stayed on my blue mat with no problem. I probably should have used a green mat, but I used a blue one. And let's go ahead and get our first panel, which will be the striped acetate. And I'm going to remove the plastic coating on the back. And the good thing about the foil acetate, if you want to do silver, you can just flip it over. Okay? It's silver on the back, gold on the front. The black, I believe, is black on the front, silver on the back. I mean, so you get a ton of looks for just a little bit of money on them. And then we're going to put this panel on there. And I am going to use, just for time's sake, I'm not going to use the score tape. I'm going to use a tape runner. But the score tape is what I would normally use on this. And I'm just going to run some beads of tape. I want enough to make sure it holds. I don't want it to pop apart. And then we're just going to, I'm putting this on the white paper so you can see that acetate. I'm just going to line it up. And I'm off. I bet I glued it down so good that I can't get it off. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to trim it. See, not everything. Sometimes we all have boo-boos. I couldn't see my edge. Let's see. That looks good. Perfect. More than one way to skin a cat. All right. And then you're going to put your score tape on your acetate. And I used the Cricut red cardstock on this, guys, in case you're wondering about the color. This is Basil Avalanche because I like it for something where you're going to be putting something 3D or has a lot of weight on it. You want a heavier cardstock. And I just don't think the Cricut cardstock, I don't like to use it for bases. I like to use it for my panels and decorative. I like to use the cheaper, heavier papers for my bases and save my good cardstock for the for decorating. But this is a really good, and it looks nice. I like the textured basil. This is the heavy, it's not the thin, it's the heavy stuff. And then you've got your card base. It's done. Then we're going to make our box. And this is what we just designed, guys. It is that tiny. So you're just going to fold on the scores. And I have the pretty side up to me and everything is a mountain fold. If you've got the pretty side away from you, it's all going to be a valley fold. If I can get that to. And like I said, the beauty of this sparkle paper is that you can score it and it doesn't break the lines. I hope you guys can see that. It looks professional. If I were to do that with glitter paper, it breaks the paper down and you can see a white edge through that. It doesn't do that with this. I know, Sue, I love my Cricut trimmer. I have one of those big green ones. I can't even think of the name of it. I haven't used it in so long. Cutter Pro. I very rarely use it. It's a big paperweight in my craft room. You just have to be careful when you're folding on the scores with this, because it's heavy paper. It's a little tough to fold, but if you get used to it. But I'm burnishing that pretty hard, and you can't even tell that I rubbed anything on it. So I will be going on to Cricut and ordering a ton of this stuff, because if you guys know me, I love to make boxes. This is a bone folder, and they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. The Teflons are the better ones. They don't scar up. Because if you use it for things not intended, you can scar the edges, which can scrape your paper. That's why I have so many, is because I've damaged some of mine. This is one of my favorites and one of the easier ones for me to use. I might be able to find a link for that on Amazon. But all I'm doing is mountain folding. Looking at the pretty side, I'm mountain folding everything. If you're looking at the inside, you're going to valley fold everything. And there we go. We have our box ready. And you especially want to use the score tape. I'm going to open all of this up so I can put all my tape on. For the box closure, or it's going to pop apart. And I'm going to need right here. And if you guys can't see this, I'm going to show it to you because this tape is so tiny. And that's where you're going to place your tapes. Now this is the back of the box, the part with the lid on it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put my tape on that. If you're going to use this just as a Valentine, as a box like this, don't do this next step. If you're going to put it on a card or on a box, you need to do this. I'm just going to run about 3 pieces of tape, staying inside my score lines, and right up to the edge of the card, but not going over. If you go over, just trim it. And then I'm going to first peel this one, and I'm using my weeding tool here. This score tape is 3 millimeter. It's an 1/8 of an inch, same thing, just about. This exact stuff came from Stamp On It, I believe. Stamp On It, Michigan. It's www.stamponit.net. I got this at the Scrapbook Expo, but they do have a website. I don't know if you can purchase off their website or not, but Joann's carries this. 2 or 3 people carry it. I believe Blitzy carries it. Scrapbook.com carries it. We have links for all of those. I love the narrow. I've got a drawer full of the thicker ones, and I very rarely use them. But I'm just going to fold that in, and then we're going to keep this square. And don't press it too hard until you make sure you've got it square. And then you can take your bone folder or anything that you can get up on the inside of there. And I just like to lay it on the table and just kind of smush it down. This might break if you press on it too hard. But I'm just going to take that bone folder and press down on that to get a good stick. You can press it down this way too. Press it back the other way to get your folds going. Then we're going to peel this one on the bottom. We're going to stuff it in there. Get it square and just tack it down. Don't press it too hard till you got it square. And then go in the inside and do the same thing. Press it down. You don't want to bend your box by pressing too hard. And before you go any further, because I didn't do that on this one and I had a really rough time, plus this is 1/4 inch ribbon, it's a little bit too wide. This is 1/8 inch and it's perfect, okay? And that's just to help you open up the box. Get the chocolate out. So, where did I put my ribbon? Oh, there it is. You're going to need maybe, I like about a 6, maybe 8 inch piece here. Just fold it in half. And like I said, mine's a little wide, so I'm going to fold the end in half again so I can get it through there. And I am pushing it through from the pretty side to the inside and pulling it. Not all the way through, just a little. And I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to use my weeding tool. And I'm just holding it under there. I'm going to pull it through. I know most people would probably feed the ends, but I do the loop. And then I'm just pulling those through. And pull it tight. I'm not going to trim this off until I get it on the box and decide where I want the tails to end. So I'm going to get it on there first. So now we'll just peel off all of our protective cover here. And I'm going to try to place it. And you can use your, if you use the striped, little trick I learned, if you use the striped, you can kind of use that as a guide. I'm putting the corner there to that one and over here to this one to help me get it straight. And then again, use your bone folder and press it down onto the card. Michael's probably has that. Michael's might have that too. I don't recall seeing it at Michael's, but I never looked because I bought so much at the Scrapbook Expo. I bought some and I won some. And then the chocolate fits right in. And I like to fold that over to the back so that it goes in well. And then we'll close the box. Got yours at Amazon, Catherine? And now I'm just going to trim these. I don't want them to hang too far off the red. So just trim them like you want. And then you're just going to decorate the front. And I just pulled that out, didn't I? And then you're just going to, you'll need to, I'm just going to use my tape runner here. I like this little one. Start to finish, guys, you guys have just designed a card in a box and assembled all in one night. And now it's nothing but layering it up. And you can put this on any way that you want. Angle it. In the real world, I would be using the score tape, but for time purposes, I'm using that little tape runner. I love this little medallion with the hearts cut out of it. I think that was on Create a Critter or Build a Critter, Create a Critter. And next, and I did save the little heart out of the box to go over the eye for the Valentine or for the ribbon. There's the large one out of the medallion, and there's the small one. And I don't even know if I could see that. Yep, there it is. I do have them both. Okay. And that I will use a little dab of art glitter glue on. And you guys, normally when you see me make cards, this is all I use is art glitter glue. I don't use any other glues. I very rarely use tapes. But for this sparkle paper, you need tapes. And I'm just going to hold that one for a minute. You're welcome, Wanda. And that box you can make several boxes larger. I just did this to show you guys how you would take an object like a candy or whatever and measure it to make a box to fit it. So with the leather bow, because we're doing it out of paper, all I did was basically make it meet at the back, and I didn't press it all the way down, and I just used a little dab of glue. And give it a minute to hold. And then you can use a straw, you can use a stick. I think this is for stuffing polyfill into a stuffed animal. I'm just going to give it, while I'm holding that glue to dry, I'm just going to fluff that out. And like I said, I ran out of time. What I really wanted to put on the front was a crepe paper rosebud, but I didn't make it. I got tied up at the doctor's office and pressed me for time. Then we're going to take the small band that is in that file, and you're just going to wrap it around the middle to the back and glue it. And then this piece, I ran at a diagonal on the card. Liz, you snuck in on me, and Brenda too. See, and Claudia, you guys. I think Claudia was here. But I didn't see Liz come in. I was talking and paying attention to my bow. And the bow, I went ahead and did dots all the way across the back. I probably overglued it, but I'm just going to stick that down on the ribbon piece because they will stick to each other. I'm just going to fluff it back out again. Give it a second to dry. And I've already put that heart on there. How can I do this on camera? I did it a while ago with no problem off camera. And I bet I dropped this 100 times trying to put it on there this time. So tiny. But it's so cute. I did it. Once the art glitter glue dries, you won't see that. And you can actually make the heart out. Like that one. But that's all there is to it, guys. I think my paper is hung up in there, but that's okay. That's how you do a card start to finish, making sure everything lines up, fixing any boo-boos that you might have like we did on the acetate, getting it offline. Just trim it up a little bit on either side. And now, hey Dorothy, we're going to play Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner. And the prize, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. I've got it listed on the list, but I'm going to show you guys what the prize is. Anybody know what that is? Leah Griffith Cray paper. This is the honeysuckle, and the colors may not be coming through really, really well on the camera because everybody's computers, your colors are different and stuff. This is the honeysuckle and the coral to make an arrangement where you can swap them back and forth for the centers of the flowers, and green tea. Yes, 4 flowers. And whoever wins Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner is going to get that and the card that we just made. So you guys ready to play Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner? Yeah, I think these colors will make a gorgeous two-tone arrangement. I think it'd be very, very, very pretty. I almost messed up, guys. I almost closed out Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner. I want to close this page. Okay. You're going to get the card, like I said, and the Leah Griffith crate in the coral, the honeysuckle, and the green tea color. All right, so what have we got to do for Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner? Let's see if I can grab that. I'm going to get rid of it. And yesterday I uploaded an informational video. What was it about? First person to give the correct answer. I'm not doing a countdown. Whoever can answer that is the winner. And if nobody knows, somebody didn't subscribe and get notified. I see Design Space. I see on iPad. Dorothy! Winner again, Dorothy! She got it. Uploading an image on Design Space. It was actually 2 parts, but that's good. Uploading SVGs and opening up files on Design Space. Did you guys know that you can click a link on your mobiles and open up a Design Space file? Everybody says it won't open, it won't open. It takes me to the app screen, wants me to download the app. And it does, unless you go through the back door. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Did anybody need me to recap anything on making the box or the card? With my southern accent, you just love to hear me say it. I'll just wait till I have one of these days where I get all crazy and say all sorts of silly stuff. I get punch drunk sometimes. 16-hour days will do it to you sometimes, though. You did try it. So you were able to open the files from your iPad. We sure do, Dorothy. We sure do. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions, that'll wrap it up. And I'll get that off to you, Dorothy. I already have your address because you've won before. Thank you. I appreciate it, everybody. I'm glad that you all guys joined me. The file for this card will be available once it goes up live, but until then, it's only available for Patreon supporters. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you tomorrow if you're a Patreon. We'll be doing a live closed chat to do the crepe paper calla lilies, the crepe paper cherry blossoms, and if we have enough time, we will do some paper whites. So if you guys want to get in on that firsthand before in the closed video, because it will not be posted for a couple of days or possibly a week. I think it's a week. I give the Patreon members 1 week on those files before I release them publicly. Yes, flowers. We're going to do a crepe paper calla lily, a crepe paper cherry blossom, and crepe paper paper whites. So if you guys want to be in on that private live session, you would have to be a Patreon member. Otherwise, you have to wait until next Saturday to see it. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please come over to the Facebook groups and ask your questions, or come over and use the contact me link on the website or on Patreon and ask your questions, and we'll take care of everything for you. You guys have a wonderful night, and thanks for joining me.